Hello, welcome. This is Interior Design Programs. I'm Paula Garofalo, here representing Winthrop University, and I'm going to pull up our slideshow to get started. We're going to talk to you today about interior design programs from Anderson University, Converse College, Living Arts College, and Winthrop University. We're going to start with Living Arts College. We're going to speak to an actual interior design professor, and we're really excited for Jean to be with us today. All right, Jean, take it away.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, my name is Gene Eidelman, and I'm the department chair for the interiors program here at Living Arts College. And the I just would like to give an overview of what our philosophy here is in this department. It's first of all, I've have probably 30 something plus years in the business of interior design, mostly commercial, but I've done quite a bit of residential as well, hospitality, things like that, excuse me. And so I bring that to the table in the class. The class is set up, we have a dedicated studio, so it's not really a classroom atmosphere. I set it up to feel more like an actual interior design studio that you would expect to see like on the job. And I had my own business, so I set it up sort of like to mimic as best I could some of the effects that were from my own business. So and I like it this way. It's fun. I encourage students to have banter and talk back and forth and and communicate as a group. We're a tight knit group, and I like it like that too. So first of all, this department is what I would like to call a total interior design program. And by that I mean we offer all of the technology courses that you could want to have when you graduate and expect to be employed. So we have AutoCAD, Revit programs, um, uh, uh, and also I teach a little bit of SketchUp as well. My throat all of a sudden now. Excuse me. And we do the study design, color, vector, and raster-based software. Where we also have relied more and more on digital presentations rather than the more traditional presentations. So students are encouraged to make all of their presentations as much as possible in digital format so they can be easily emailed or taken from one scene to another easily. And that's important for a portfolio as well. So in addition to the technology portion of the program, there's the traditional side of it as well, which I stress a lot, quite a bit. Creativity, number one. When I had my own business, I hired a lot of people right out of college, and that's what I looked for. I looked for creativity, ability to draw and ideate, abilities to think out of the box, as it were, and abilities to uh, you know, work with other people to come up with creative solutions. So that was an important part of my own hiring experience, and so that I emphasize that in this department. And so like hand drawing, rendering techniques with markers and colored pencils, also drawing techniques are illustrated, how to ideate, which is, if you're not familiar with that word, it's drawing what you're thinking. So you're not drawing, it's not art. It's not like, life drawing or anything like that. It's drawing what you're thinking. And it's an important skill that by the time you graduate, all the students will hopefully have that in hand. Also, color is important in the department. Emphasize color studies. We do color studies based on nature mostly, and we do work with the warm colors, the cool colors, the neutral colors. Come up with different color palettes. We look at color trends as well in the fashion industry. Um, and, we look at fashion quite a bit, as a matter of fact, to look at different combinations of color and fabric and texture. So the other things that we talk about are as far as, okay, we have the drawing classes. There's two of them. There's drawing 1 and drawing 2, so they're important. I just finished last quarter the drawing 2 class, and it was really fun. We did a lot of rendering, and the students advanced tremendously since their first attempt at color rendering, so it was really good. So all the time that this work is going on in the studio in terms of interior design, I'm working, me and the other professors here work towards students by the time they're in their last year or their 400 level classes. They have complete control over their own output, their own creative ideas. They have ability to use the internet effectively. They have the ability to use AutoCAD. They have the ability to be able to use color imaging, Photoshop, and what's the other one? Photoshop and Illustrator. And they bring all of that skill and knowledge, to the table with their final projects. It's really wonderful to see how students have they come in here with not knowing hardly anything, most of them. And when they get ready to graduate and they're in their portfolio class, they're off and running, and it's really wonderful to see. And they produce very excellent work, in my opinion. So that's the goal, is for a student, by the time she or he is ready to graduate, they should have complete control over all the tools that they have in their toolbox. So we also, in terms of the core classes for interior design, we treat equally the residential portion of it and the commercial portion. So we have residential 1 and 2, and we have commercial 1 and 2. Both of those classes, all 4 of those classes, are what we call studio class, which is a studio class is where the assignment is given. It's a project assigned in the very beginning of the quarter. And then I work with students to help them come up with a creative solution to whatever the program dictates. But it's their thing. Okay, so I don't. It's very hands off. It's very free and open. I let students go as far as I can before I can't stand it anymore, and I have to interrupt them to say, listen, you might want to try this instead. So both of those classes are in that format as a studio class. And by the time students take the like residential 2, they are very much on their own. They are very much self-motivated. Same thing with commercial 2. Very, very self-motivated. For commercial 2, well, 1 and 2 for that matter, I've got a lot of experience, and so the programs I give the students are very real-world based projects. A lot of business-to-business projects. Working for, say, for instance, a property developer or a commercial property developer would call me and say, hello, Gene, can you do a proposal for me to see if this particular building can support I don't know, an accounting office. And of course, I'll say, sure, we'll do that. So that's the assignment. And there's 2.5 weeks to do it. So they have to go on, for instance, Google Earth, find the building, and photograph it or screenshot it, and estimate the size of the building, do a footprint plan, concept plan, and do a quick three-dimensional model of it in SketchUp, and do any other accessories or extraneous things that the program might call for, like landscaping or some branding on the building, some exterior lighting, etc. So it's a real project, real world projects, not real, but that's the type of project that's given for commercial 2. Residential 1 and 2 are really pretty much space planning, but they come up, I give them the programs, what's required, and I give them a footprint of a space. The residential 1 is an apartment that can be located anywhere in the world. They have to come up with a scenario, like who lives here, how were you hired as an interior designer. Last quarter, a student did her apartment in Venice, Italy, and it was very, very interesting. It came out beautiful. And so she went in and looked at the sort of vernacular of Venice, and invented her 2 clients, and came up with a spectacular solution to the project. All of that is put into the format of a PowerPoint, but there are hand drawing floor plans and elevations as well. Those are photographed digitally and for later use in portfolio. So residential 2, by that time, students will have learned AutoCAD and Revit, and they'll be required to draw their plan in AutoCAD after they've done the concept sketches for the plan. So those are the two very core classes, residential 1 and 2 and commercial 1 and 2. So in addition to those types of classes, I mean, we've got what are called labs. A good example of a lab would be textiles and materials, fabrics. We have a very nice fabric and materials library here. And so we teach how to specify fabrics, the lingo that's associated with fabric. It's a whole separate world. And also other materials. For instance, how to do upholstery. How do you specify upholstery materials? Other materials as well, wood. We've got tons and tons of wood samples. What's the difference between walnut and maple, for instance? What is an open grained wood? What is a closed grained wood, etc. Metals and glass also are discussed and studied. So that's what I would call a lab. Another lab would be the lighting design class, where we learn lighting effects, and warm and cool temperature lamps. And we actually design and build, the students do a light fixture of their own design, which is always fun. Now the classes that are more like book learning type classes would be professional practice, which is like ethics, how to write a business plan, how to conduct yourself in a business way, public speaking, how to present a project effectively, how to sell design, to put it more bluntly, how to make a good, strong visual presentation to a client, professional practice, how to conduct yourself professionally. And the other class in that same vein is what we call project and process, which is a very interesting class. It teaches structure to the design process. So you start out and, you know, you go interview your client, and we teach how to conduct yourself in that first interview, let the client do most all the talking, setting up the second client interview where you do most of the talking, the designer, and at which time you present a contract. And the class ends with their own contract, and I happen to be the client. Um, so it's addressed to me. And then you go through all the processes of the design. So you go into phase one, for instance, and 2 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, so we go into phase one, phase two, all the way to construction documents. All right, and coordination. So it's a very interesting class. The students, it's all new, and it teaches them that, oh my gosh, I just don't sit down and just like, you know, be creative. No, you have to go through a process, and you want to get paid for your work. That's the point. So you have to be able to stick to the process and watch your time, and you know, and your contract. Make sure you have good relations with your client, how to communicate with your client throughout the process, throughout the design process, etc. That's a really good class. Students love it. We do mock interviews with the client in this case, and they develop their own program based on the client interview. So it's very good. All right, lastly, there are, the reason I said total design curriculum is because not only do students learn, you know, creative thinking, web design, for instance, broadcast design, web animation. So those are all like additive courses that students take in addition to the core and interior design program. And so it's really wonderful program that we have here because it interacts with other students at the school, and you know, the photography students, of course, are involved in some of this stuff. The graphic designers get involved. There's personal branding that students do. And then lastly, there's the say if I missed anything. Oh, just the core classes like Art Appreciation 1 and 2. That is a school-wide class. It's big. It's in our auditorium. And it's good. It's a good class. It's art, and students need to know art. But we also, within the department, interior design department, we teach the history of design. And that is mainly focused on design starting when design actually started to become a profession. So we're not starting back doing interior design, looking at the inside of caves and things like that, okay? So we're doing, we start, you know, early, like in probably the 1900s, and we look at how industry, the Industrial Revolution has affected design and the products that we use every day, and the evolution of interior design and the evolution of the profession as well. A heavy emphasis is placed on furniture, the history of furniture design, and the ability to identify different styles of furniture, like an Art Deco table might not work so well with Victorian chairs. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, as long as you know that those two are from totally different frames of mind in terms of style and design. And there's, I think that's basically it. The history of design, yeah. Yeah, I think that's about all. It sounds like, oh, green design, of course. We've got, that's one full class on green design and recycling. And it's a lab class again, but there's a lot of discussion. We have discussions in that class. And the last one I taught, we had the students had to write an op-ed for, like, I don't know, the New York Times or something on some portion of green, what green design means to them. So they had to do it in a, sort of an op-ed format, which means simply that their opinion is valued. And okay, I'm getting some signals here that may, I guess that's it though. That's pretty much the broad stroke through the program here at LAC. It's a small program and we like it a lot. So that's it, I guess. The question and answer as well.
All right, so my name is Brittany. I work with our School of Interior Design here at Anderson. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm just really going to walk through our interior design program pretty briefly. So let's see. Okay. So here at Anderson, our School of Interior Design is actually its own separate school from the South Carolina School of the Arts. It is now a BFA program starting this year, meaning that it's a professional degree at an undergraduate level. It's strictly a 4-year degree. It doesn't matter if students are transferring in or anything like that, just due to our Art Foundations courses, it's strictly a 4-year degree. There is no portfolio needed for admissions into our School of Interior Design. Our students work their entire freshman year on getting projects and things together to submit their portfolio at the beginning of their sophomore year to actually enter our interior design program. And we're actually only one of 9 Christian institutions that have an interior design degree. All of our courses are actually studio-based, but 5. So out of the interior design, only 5 are lecture. Our students learn hand drafting as well as technical skills. We do have a computer lab that is specific to our interior design program. It has AutoCAD, Revit, things like that. But our students are also able to download that on their own computer as well. The first 2 years of the interior design program focus more on residential interior design versus the last 2 focus more on commercial music. All students are required to complete an internship between their junior and senior year. And I'll just kind of walk through a little bit of a few of those in a minute. And then published designer, so one of our alum, Carrie Howard, he's been in HGTV's Design Wars, Bravo TV Top Design, and so on. All of our adjunct faculty are actually still practicing in the field, either architect or interior design. Now, a lot of our students do go on to pursue the accreditations upon graduation. A huge part of our program here at Anderson is actually field study. And so as early as the first 6 weeks into a student's freshman year for interior design, they have their first field study. It's usually in Atlanta, but throughout the 4 years, it can be in New York, Chicago, High Point, and so on. So students are going to furniture dealerships, museums, architecture firms, and so on, just kind of seeing the different types of interior design. Our graduates of Anderson have also attended the top 20 graduate programs in the country, including a school in Florence, Italy. We do have an American Society of Interior Design here on campus. Our faculty advisor was actually recently named Faculty Advisor of the Year by the national organization. A lot of our students upon graduation will go into architecture firm, residential design, healthcare, as well as your interior design firms. And now I'm just going to kind of show a few of our student internships. This is Shelby. She did her internship in between her junior and senior year under Millie Thomason in Greenville. It's an architecture firm. Rachel Burgess, she completed hers in LA. Miss Kate actually got to complete hers in New York City with Miss Bunny Williams. And then Anna completed her summer internship in Chicago. She actually had a very unique internship. As you can see in the background of the picture, they're on a boat. So her entire internship was basically designing yachts. Ms. Joy completed hers in Virginia. She worked a lot with the Marriotts. And then Sarah completed hers in Boston. And below the pictures, those are all Anderson University graduates. So they've won multiple awards. To the left, that's Miss Chloe Bagwell. Bagley in 2019, she won the Eaton Source lighting competition. She got an all expense paid trip to the competition for her and her professor. The Institute of Classical Architecture and Art in New York. So this is a program designed during the summer. It's a 4-week intensive program. They cover a lot of things, but it's very competitive to get in. So one of our students actually got to complete that in 2019. And then to the right, those are 2 of our students, and they actually won a national award for the picture below. So it just kind of gives you an idea of some of the projects that they complete. But on the left-hand side, those are just our major core requirements here at Anderson. So everything from architecture drawing, to residential design, textile, lighting design. Our students, like I said, they focus in on commercial and residential, so they get a little bit of both. And that's really it for me. So that's my contact information. If you guys have any questions, hopefully we'll get to answer at the end.
Okay, thank you, Brittany. I appreciate that. It was very informative. So I am Laura Claire Tevenet, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about interior design at Converse College. Just give me one moment. I am going to try to share my screen. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm going to be pretty quick with this. I will start off, tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Converse alum. I do have my contact information here if you need it, but I'm the School of the Arts Scholarship Coordinator, and I'm also an admissions counselor. So you would probably hear from me quite a lot. I also have our Assistant Professor of Interior Design's information on the right side, Maraf Goldauer, and she's fantastic. She's always willing to work with students and answer any questions you have about the program. So starting off, just some general facts about Converse. We are located in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and we are a small private liberal arts college. We are right next door to Wofford and USC Upstate, and much of my colleagues here were very close together. So Spartanburg is really a college town. We have over 400 corporations here, BMW, Milliken, Denny's, so there are lots of career opportunities in this area alone. Converse is historically known as a women's college, but we went co-ed this fall and began admitting males for this cohort, so that's very exciting. Converse, like I said, is a smaller school. We have a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, so you really get that personal interaction with your professors. And because of that, I think that is why we have such a great graduation rate. 94% of our students graduate within 4 years, and 60% of our graduates have grad school acceptances or jobs upon graduation. So if you're interested in applying, our application is free on our website, and it's always free. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. You can go fill it out. All we need are your high school transcripts or your test scores if you would like to submit them, but we are test optional. So, and we've been test optional since 2019. So either way, it's just up to you. Okay, so a little bit about our interior design program. Our program at Converse, we are pretty broad. We do either residential or commercial, so it's just up to the student. But Converse is accredited by CIDA, that is the Council for Interior Design Accreditation. And they kind of set the standards across the board for your program. So students, because of this, are very well prepared to take the National Council for Interior Design Qualification Examination after when they graduate. And that just makes you certified or licensed to practice interior design. And that way you can draft your own drawings and you don't have to get them signed off by an architect. So that's very important. We do use Revit, AutoCAD, SketchUp, and Photoshop for our programs and our technology here. Our interior design students are required to complete an internship, and most of our students do go on and get a job with those internships that they do. Even while they're still in our program, they are working and being a student. So we do have a 100% job placement rate within our program. And our professors have all worked in the interior design field, either privately or commercially, whichever. So they have been in your shoes and they know how to teach you to prepare for that. Converse has this really unique initiative that we started implementing a few years ago called Creativity That Works. And these are just a few classes that are added on to freshman year that you have to take for professional development and career preparation. And part of that is that our interior design students do actually work with real clients. And I will show you some work here. So this one in particular, a student did a rendering for a Jewish community center. And this client actually used these designs to help make decisions. So students do this quite often within our program. And I think that's very cool. So college has got you feeling a little bit like Joe Exotic. Don't worry, Converse stacked scholarships here. Actually, 85% of our students receive financial aid. And we do offer talent-based scholarships. You don't have to submit a portfolio to be accepted into our program, but you're welcome to apply for scholarships. We are doing in-person and virtual portfolio reviews this year, so just go to our website or contact me for more info. We would really only like art majors, art and design majors to submit for the portfolio. And some of our requirements are you just have to have a portfolio of 10 of your best works, and you have to have a sketchbook, and you'll come in for an interview, and it's similar with online, but just a virtual version. So, but yeah, that is pretty much it. You guys can contact me, email me, call me, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you like. And Marav is also always open to answering questions. So, and I'll pass it along to Paula at Winthrop. Paula, I believe you're muted.
Okay, am I on now? All right, thanks ladies for joining the panel. I think this is really great and informative to students interested in studying interior design. I'm the arts recruiter for Winthrop University. Interior design is one of our programs in the Department of Design. If you don't know much about us, we're a mid-sized institution in the state of South Carolina, and I encourage you to look up more information about us. I always include this slide. I think we've covered this idea really well, is that interior design is more than just paint, chips, and furniture. And everybody's done a really great job of explaining that. So thank you, ladies. I mentioned we're housed in a Department of Design. So it's the only one in the state of South Carolina and it's dedicated to these professional programs. And we've already mentioned how a pre-professional program is really in the strength of the curriculum. These typically take 4 years to complete, and you really are in a like-minded creative community. The students all start out in their freshman year, the graphic design students, interior design students, and illustration. They get core competencies in what really essentially is graphic design, web design, and they're taught the principles and elements of design through a really technical lens. It's not touchy-feely, it really is purposeful, intentional, and preparing you to work with client-based problem solving. All of our programs in the College of Visual Performing Arts and the Department of Design are fully accredited by all of their appropriate accreditation bodies. For interior design, CIDA is really important. Our students are well prepared to take their examination after completion of their degree to continue in their career. I wanted to just highlight coursework, but Jean really covered this. If students aren't familiar, again, you're going to learn principles and elements of design. Hand rendering is still very valuable to communicate ideas early on in the creative process. Of course, there's going to be history of art and style, design theory. Sustainable design is very important and what clients are looking for these days. Of course, professional practice and ethics, building codes and standards, and students will master the technology needed to pursue this career professionally and be prepared for their internships, which almost always end up being long-term job placement. Why Winthrop? Accreditation, accreditation, accreditation. Our students are just prepared and ready to work. The department as a whole has almost 100% job placement rate. Sometimes a student may have a life change or they go on to graduate school very frequently. So we're really, really proud of our students in that. We have a dedicated design space. The studio is its own separate building where students can meet with clients privately or just really practice professional presentation. Professional internship, again, is required, and our students usually start doing them the sophomore and junior year. We try to place them really focused on their career goals and what they want to do. So we call it more of like, it's a cooperative experience for them. And many of them are in the region so that students can really go and come from the place more regularly. So a lot in Charlotte, North Carolina, Charleston, Columbia, Greenville is where many of our students are placed and can do long-term internships. Senior show, exit is so exciting. These students prepare so hard for these exit interviews, and we always celebrate with a really big show for the entire department. And we invite many professionals to review portfolios for them and offer jobs if students still happen to be looking for work. And they're all very entrepreneurial. They're taking business minors. So they're really, really leveraging themselves for really great transition into the professional workforce. They just have a great student life. We have a study abroad in interior design that's faculty led, and they're always going on field trips to manufacturers and expos throughout the nation. High Point is close to all of us. I'm sure we take students there regularly, but Chicago and Atlanta are also very common for them to do regularly. And there even is a student organization that many of our students are a part of. Talent scholarships, please submit. We understand you've probably not taken an interior design course in high school. That's okay. Portfolio reviews are not required, but we really encourage students to apply. Out-of-state students, please do it. A merit scholarship or talent scholarship also includes an out-of-state waiver. Our application is online on our website. It's also on the Common App. Go to our website. It's free there until November 1st, and I encourage everybody to apply. So again, here's just my contact information. I'm going to go to the whole groups now, and we'll get ready to answer some student questions. I'm going to leave this slide up for you guys so you can pause. Can anyone, I'm trying to open the questions.
I think you might only be able to see it if you stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
That's how I saw it earlier.
Okay, question one. If these schools have interior design schools, does anyone have a fashion program? We do not. The closest thing we do have is if there's a theater department, we have a theater department. If you want to pursue costume design, you can complete a bachelor's degree. Typically, that's going to take a master's degree to really be competitive.
No, we don't have a fashion program here at LAC. Yeah.
Okay, and then the other question is, do any of the schools have marching band or color guard? We have a color guard. We do not have a marching band. We do not have a football team.
We don't have any of that.
We don't, sorry,
Go
go ahead. We don't have a marching band here at Anderson, but our students can actually participate in Clemson's marching band since they're so close.
It's really cool. Yeah, Converse similarly does not have marching band or color guard because we don't have a football team, but we do have large ensembles like orchestra, wind ensemble, and chorale, but those are different, as you know.
Yes, we have a very large music department, but we do not have a marching band. All right, well, those were all of our questions. All right, well, thank you so much, students, for joining us today. Do you have any last questions about pursuing interior design degrees? These are 4 really great programs that you've heard can really prepare you for your professional career. And I know there's a few more in each state, so please do your research.
Okay, we thank you for joining us this afternoon for this informative session. Following you closing the window for the browser, there will be a 4-question survey that should appear. We encourage you to complete that item. Also, sign up for more sessions that may be of interest to you by visiting the CACRAO website, CACRAO.org, and a recording of this particular session will be made available on that same website. Take care and have a wonderful evening.